thank you for joining us for the 6th episode of Cowboy Coffee with Meeker Alumni, a podcast created to reconnect Meeker High School alumni with former classmates, teachers, and friends while following current Meeker High School student athletes, sports, and their activities. My name is Bobby Gutierrez. I'm graduated from the class of 1979. I'm joined by fellow host Hallie Turner Blunt. Meeker class of 1995. There's a little side bet going on there they can explain later. And Dale Dunbar, Meeker High School class of 1978. Our studio technician is Rich Klinsman. He is a graduate of Otis High School on the Eastern Slope from the mighty class of 1994. Also, a big thank you to Lucas Turner and the Rio Blanco Herald-Times for use of this studio, where we're recording this podcast on the corner of 4th and Main Streets in downtown Meeker, Colorado. Again, welcome and thanks for tuning in, joining us today, which is Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. Our special guest today is Lee Overton, a Meeker High School graduate, class of 2004. Thanks for Lee for agreeing to show up tonight. I think we made the deal at about 3 o'clock or so.
About right.
2 or 3. Hey, you want to be on the show? But yes, thanks so much for doing it. Excited. I know we're going to have some fun stories. I moved back here in mid-'90s. I went to school with your Uncle Paul, who I think lives in Washington State now. Yep. So we'll have you kind of tell us some of your relations in that, but maybe have you just kind of tell us about growing up here in Meeker, and then when you graduated, what you've done after that, and maybe introduce your family, and then we'll start hitting a bunch of questions and talk some glory days. You have, we're just going through the old annual here, the bindery copy of the Herald-Times, and there's going to be some good stories coming up. So thanks for joining us, Lee, and yeah, so maybe tell us about growing up here in Meeker. And
yeah, thanks for having me. I don't know where to start.
You were born, where were you born?
Here in Meeker.
In Meeker.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe one of the last, when were you born? What year were you born?
86.
Oh, 86. I think they were having babies through the 90s?
Clear up through the 90s,
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay, so cool. Good deal.
Yeah.
Can't say that anymore, that you're born in Meeker. So go ahead, okay?
Yeah, I just remember hanging out at the old grade school, playing lots of basketball and football. We walked and rode our bikes everywhere, which is completely different now than what my kids' idea of going somewhere is like.
Yeah, I do remember you always wearing big head, red hair, and always a Green Bay jersey on, and always had a ball in your hand, either a football or a basketball, and shooting hoops down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's a cool thing that you can do. You know, as you say, cruise on your bike and.
Definitely. That's why I like Meeker.
Good deal. And you're raised in, so you graduated in 2004, went to school, college.
Went to Western State for a year, played football.
Oh, good.
Found out that I did not like school that much.
Football was okay.
The football was good.
Yeah.
And came back and started working at the dealership and just started gathering up certificates and certifications, and finally just moved into some management.
You mentioned the dealership. Tell us a little bit about that. What do you got there?
So my dad used to be Reg Nichols, and he bought it in 2002 and turned it into Northwest Auto. And then when I came back from school in 2006, I started working there as a lube tech, changing oil and doing odds and ends like that. And then kind of just started taking GM online training courses and going to Denver. And then just kind of worked my way up to a flat rate tech. And then I did that for like 10 years. and then moved into a service writer position, and then got a chance to buy out 25% from my dad and jumped on it.
Cool.
Good deal. And that's not the only business that you have going. Maybe first tell us about your family, introduce them, and how long you've been married, etc.
So my wife, Stephanie, her maiden name's Brown. She's from Craig.
Okay.
And we've been married 12 years and 13 years this year. And then our oldest daughter.
Do you know the date?
Jaden. That we were married, July 18th.
Okay.
It's not close.
Okay, you passed.
Well done.
Okay,
Well done.
you got points there. Good.
Oldest daughter, Jaden, is 17. She's turned 17 in December. And then Kale is 11. And Caselyn is 9. And Garrison is 5.
Okay. Good. Okay, so you're telling us about the business, the family business, and you have other business as well.
Yeah. I have Overton Recycling that Stephanie and me own, and we just started out. I guess it started out one day. There was this leftover scrap metal behind the shop, and my dad said, the guy that used to come around and pick that up hadn't shown up in a while. So he says, well, why don't you gather that up and, take it to wherever, and what you can get, you can have. It hooked me. So I loaded it all up, took it all in, ended up getting like $1,000 for it. And I was just like, whoa, that's crazy. So then I started doing that, running around all the different ranchers and cleaning different things up, and then gathering all kinds of cars and stuff. The scrap places won't take tires. So I ended up with a bunch of tires. And then I tried figuring out how to get rid of these tires. Well, it turns out there's a real shortage of tire recyclers in Colorado. So then I started looking into that and kind of figured out, well, I'll just do it myself then, recycle these tires. So then I bought a tire shredder, and then now we haul tires from all over, from Pitkin County, Mesa, Route.
And what do you do with recycled tires?
So a lot of different things. The main thing we do is we sell them to landfills, and they use them to either cover their trash, or they use them as a drainage layer when they build the next cell.
Okay.
And then just in the last couple of years, we've really started to get into a little more locally. We sell them to people building septic systems for leach fields or French drains.
Well, be darned.
Yep. It's about a fourth the price of like washed rock gravel.
Huh.
And how do you market it? Just kind of being in the know, or?
Yeah. That's a good question. Really haven't marketed it, the septic stuff or the French drain, very much, because we're trying really hard to keep up with just the landfill people right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Apparently, landfills, getting dirt to cover your trash, is kind of tough, because they have to cover their trash every day. So that's a lot of dirt they have to find and use.
Yeah.
So shredded tires is, I guess, a state-approved cover. So when they can use shredded tires, then they will.
So you shred them and people come pick them up, or do you deliver the product to the landfills?
I deliver them to landfills. So I'll run a truck with shreds down and drop the shreds off, and then I'll pick up their whole tires.
Oh,
Well, that
wow.
works pretty convenient.
Yeah, and then I'll bring their whole tires back, take shreds back down to them.
Smart guy.
I was just going to say it's kind of fascinating because you're so modest about these businesses and these things that you've done. But talk about progressive and talk about looking into the future and being business people. And I think one of the big things that you and your father have done as well is giving back to the community. I mean, there's been a lot of things that you guys have done to give back. And I guess my question is, did you know that coming back that this is something I want to do? I want to give back to the community. I want to.
No. Mainly, my first thing on my mind when I came back is I just need a job.
But you immediately got involved in
Yeah, definitely.
taking advantage of the opportunities presented. So,
Yeah.
yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
And Okay. So let's go back a little bit in high school and talk about the some of some of your classmates. Who were they? Some of the sports you played. Maybe kind of growing up. Were there Little League and football, Mustang football back then? No.
No, the only thing we really had was wrestling and baseball, and I didn't play baseball, so we just wrestled when we were little until you got to middle school. Or I guess we had a little bit of basketball in 5th and 6th grade. And then...
And you kind of liked basketball, too. It was...
Yeah, I did.
It's at 6'4" or 6'5" or whatever you are. I would guess so.
Yeah, which is a huge advantage in wrestling, too.
Yeah, and maybe talk about that and growing up. But I remember you as being one of the bigger kids, obviously growing up, and kind of how that is as far as I never was a big kid, and it's still not. I was always the littlest kid, and kind of know that struggle. But also being one of the biggest kids, and you wrestled. I remember I worked for the newspaper when you were going to high school, and remember a match in Craig. I think you were a freshman, and it was against this kid from Adams City. He might have been the defending state champ. He was a stud. He was tough, and he was working over Lee. I think you're 167 or
171.
171. Yeah. So he's a freshman. This kid's a senior, and he's working him over. Lee's got both his nostrils are plugged with cotton because they're bleeding, and I remember 'cause I took a picture and I can still remember it in my mind. Lee's down there, his eyes, he wasn't crying, but they were just from his nose is probably broken. the guy standing behind him, and he kind of had a grin like, this is a tough son of a bitch. And he's taking it, and he did. He got worked over, but he didn't quit. And as a year or two later, he's handing out those lessons to others. But I remember that guy kind of just reading his face. It was kind of like, he's tough, he's taking it. But yeah, so
that match.
That is kind of probably got to be kind of hard to be one of the bigger kids, and
a young kid being a big kid, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's definitely tough. I can remember my freshman year. I remember going up 0-11, my first 11 matches my freshman year, just thrown into varsity, 171 pounds. It wasn't until finally after Christmas break that I won a match, and
that kept you in it.
Big
win.
It was a brutal stretch.
Like, oh my word, what'd I do?
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Thinking you could have been playing basketball and
yeah,
no. So, well, good deal. And some of your teammates. Who were some of your teammates?
In wrestling, Ryan Clark. He was a two-timer, so he won it our junior and senior year. I was trying to think. In football, Casey Sullivan. Those were in my class.
He was your quarterback, right?
Yep.
And what position did you play in football?
Tight end.
Tight end. And defense?
Defensive end.
Defensive end.
Yeah. Joe Elder, he still lives here in Meeker. He's in the same class.
Mm-hmm. Who's the running back? Jacobs? Who was that?
Who was? Probably Deloy Cook.
Deloy was your junior year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deloy was the junior year.
I think Jimmy Casillas played for a little bit. I don't know if he played our senior year, though.
Jimmy got hurt that year, didn't he? Your senior year? I don't think he played your senior year.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Or not the whole year, anyway.
And the coaches, who were your coaches, football coaches?
Craig Pascal and Kindler, Mr. Kindler.
Okay.
Yeah, and Dave McGraw.
Oh, yeah. How'd you guys finish? I don't remember how you finished those years.
I can remember your junior year.
Yeah, I think we, pretty much every year, I think we went to the playoffs, but I don't know if we ever made it much further than the first or second round.
Your junior year, you remember that game when you went there?
Would you go down to
Sanford. Played
Yeah.
Sanford.
It's a
I
long drive.
remember the last play of that season. The Sanford had the ball, and their quarterback dropped back on the very last play of the game to throw what would have been another touchdown pass. You were already beat, and Lee decleated him. Ironically, that same quarterback just won the state championship this year for, I can't think of the name of it, Centauri.
Really?
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's the coach
Kyle
now?
Forstner is the coach now.
I'll be
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Huh.
Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
And our coach has had some words about that play
They
instead
were
of just
running up the score or
yeah,
what?
yeah. And there was some heated conversations at midfield after that game, but everything cooler heads prevailed, and everybody shook hands and everybody went home.
That's good.
What was one of your favorite football memories?
Oh, man, I don't know. I liked football. Football was probably my favorite sport in high school, and now I like wrestling, hands down, better. I don't know why I switched, but I don't know. I can't remember a favorite play or memory in football. I have lots of them. I just don't have a favorite, I guess.
How about wrestling then? Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's the favorite wrestling memory?
Obviously, winning a state title. That's, or no,
Okay,
I
and-
take that back. That's probably my second. Winning the Warrior is probably my first.
That's huge.
Oh, really? Okay. And that was your senior year?
Yeah, winning the Warrior and then a state title.
Okay, and who did you beat at the Warrior?
His name was Tyler. He's from Fruita Monument. I can just remember because, they do the Parade of Champions come out and then they announce kind of,
Your background?
Yeah, your background. And he just had all of these like freestyle and Greco, titles and everything. And I just had nothing to compete with. It felt like it was going on forever on this guy's background. It was great.
Psyching you out?
Yeah.
A little psychology by word there. Huh?
Yeah. Big time. But it ended well for me and not him. So I was.
And what was the score? Or did you beat?
Double overtime.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was 3-1. Or no, 2-1. Yeah. So I got an
So
escape.
double overtime, how did they do overtime? Back in the day, they went 3 1-minute periods, but that's not how they do it then.
So at the end of 6 minutes, if you go takedown wins,
Okay?
and then if you don't get a takedown, then the ref flips a coin, and it's either green or red, and then you get to choose top or bottom, and then you either ride them and win or escape and win.
And so what did you do?
Down.
You won the flip,
Yep, won the flip and chose down. Yeah.
and how'd you get away?
Switch, but I didn't follow behind him, just got away
And won.
and won. Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
And then that same year, you won the state tournament.
Yep.
And the team did too, right?
Yeah, that was their teams back-to-back that year. Yeah, the team won in 03, 04, and 05.
Who were the
And-
state champions? Sorry, Bobby.
Go ahead.
Who were the state champions that year when you were a senior?
In 04, so it would have been Ryan Clark, Tyrell Stout, and me. And then Cody Clark was in the finals, but he took second.
And Stephen Rust was a junior, or
Yeah, he was a junior, so he won it the next year with Cody.
Meeker's only heavyweight
Yep.
state champ.
Yep, Meeker's only heavyweight.
Got one coming out that might get there, huh?
Yeah, he does a heck of a job.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Keep going.
What about regress a little bit, Lee? What about your family? You got a brother, and
Yep.
where is he?
He's in San Diego.
His name is
Jeff. Yep. So he went into the Navy, and then he did 5 years in the Navy and a tour in Afghanistan. And then when he got out of the Navy, he got into like some contracting. He's an IT guy, so he doesn't tell us exactly what he does.
It's top secret?
Yeah, he has some military clearances, I think, that are pretty well up there. But he's an IT guy.
Was he on a nuclear ship? What was his deal?
No, he was on a destroyer.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so now he works for some, I don't know if they do some kind of contracting with communications, like submarine communications or something.
But he's a civilian contractor now? He's
Yep.
out of the Navy.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he would like to leave San Diego. It's just, that's where his job's at.
And he's married?
Yep. And he's married to Maria. I don't know how long they've been married. Probably 4 years, maybe.
Okay, and talking about wrestling and your son, Kale, where's that come from?
I don't know. He loves it. He likes it a lot more now than I did when I was in Pee Wee, for sure.
Uh-huh. And how old is he?
11.
But the name Kale?
Oh, from Cale Sanderson.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Yeah.
good. And,
We're huge Penn State fans, for sure.
oh, okay.
You know,
And how's that going for him?
they're really good since Spencer Lee's out. They just moved Penn State. Penn State's
Into-
number 1 now.
Oh,
You know, so they got him ranked at number 2 now.
do you follow college, just wrestling, college football too? Did you watch the championship last night?
No, I did not. I saw
yeah.
I saw the end result, but I didn't watch it.
That was a little touch and go for a while there.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think of it?
I kind of like the way the ending ended up.
Rich is shaking his
Is,
head
is
too.
Rich a Georgia fan?
I'm just not an Alabama fan.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on it too. I was kind of glad to see somebody new in there. So,
You talk about wrestling being your favorite. You also coach some wrestling, right?
Yep.
So
With
tell
your
us-
brother.
There you go. And how long did you do that? And
I don't know how long, 5 or 6 years maybe.
okay, and then now are you working with the youth and Carl or?
Yeah, so we just kind of do the Pee Wee season, the kind of the community Pee Wee season, just only like a month or two, you know, just kind of for some kids that want to dabble in it to do it. And Kale was just kind of really wanting more and more and more, so we kind of started wrestling in November, and then we just kind of end our season as it comes into the Pee Wee season, and then just join those guys, so we're not competing with them.
Oh, there you go.
And we started that a few years ago, and we did it in my basement. So we have mats in my basement, of course. You have to have mats in your basement. And it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and pretty soon we just had too many kids for drywall down there. And so then we moved up to the high school this year, and now, I think we have like 18 or 20 kids that come to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And when's that happening?
Mondays and Wednesdays at 6:30.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good deal. And they go to some tournaments and that?
Yeah, so it's just kind of on their own when they want to go. I think we've been to 2 so far this year. We'll go next weekend to Montrose.
All right.
And wrestle down there.
It seems like, and of course, my kiddo hasn't been up there, but you guys have a lot of kids that you're helping out a ton, and you and Dr. Grant, it looks like, are
Yep.
working together, and it's fun to see those kids that get so excited. I mean, you see them come out of there, and they're just pumped up, and they're excited about it, and I think I always brag about Meeker because I'm biased, and I love our community, but I think it's cool that, Stephanie does a ton for our school system and all of that, and then, of course, with all of your businesses and your giving back. And then we see you and Dr. Grant, who obviously work hundreds of hours in a week, but still have time to put into these little kiddos and help them make
Yeah.
wrestling their thing, you know?
That's fun.
Yeah, and like, who were some of the guys that when you were growing up, did you have some guys like that?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot in Pee Wee. Pee Wee, I probably kind of remember, obviously, Old Man Tate.
Yeah,
Chuck?
So good,
Tate.
so good.
yeah, for sure.
And then Dave Carnahan, I remember him in Pee Wee.
Right.
Yeah, and then when we got into middle school, that's when Willie started coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And Just trying to think who helped out with that. You know, his brother Tony helped out with that.
Right.
Dave Main was in there for a little bit. Pat Hughes was in there for a little bit. Bren Sullivan, of course, was always there.
Right.
Barney LeBlanc was there a bunch.
Yeah, it's cool how they come back. People come back and pitch in yourself and all included. Yeah, good deal.
Yeah, and give back kind of to the community and to the kids and to whatever they can do to help whatever the programs, whether it's basketball or wrestling or whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Keenan used to come in a bunch.
Yeah.
So after your three-peat, things kind of turned downhill for a few years there, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. So, and I kind of think that that's why it's so important to me right now with all these younger kids, is because I think there for a while, we just had the Pee Wee, and then it went to the middle school, and there wasn't a lot of consistency between the two of them, or all three programs, and kind of getting on the same page. And, you know, the seasons are just so short that it's hard to...
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, you only have a month here and a month here and a month here. It's really hard to get any consistency.
Yeah. I said it before, but it's unfortunate that come winter time that athletes like you have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
Because if you'd have gone on to play basketball, I think Meeker probably would have had a state championship team with the way Lee could play at that time. So, but
yeah, I wish
we pick and choose. So.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some schools that do let their kids play both. I mean, I know that's hard and it would be difficult. I mean, I understand both sides of it, but Paonia had that heavyweight kid that was a heck of a post for him, and they won a state championship in
Kennedy?
No, Darling. His
Yeah,
last
Tony
name was
Darling.
Tony Darling. He was a heck of a post for him, and nobody could out-rebound him. And then he went the next week, or the week prior to that, because wrestling was first. So he won a heavyweight championship in wrestling the first week, and then went to playing basketball, and they won regionals and state. Yeah. So there's schools that do it, but it's hard to. I mean, you can see both sides because you say, "Oh, how are you going to practice both?" You know,
it'd be tough to get your coach on board with that.
But there's a few kids. There's a few kids out there that we darn sure take, wouldn't we?
Right. Well, I commend you on your work with the little kids. I, of course, come from a basketball background, and all my family was basketball. But I truly think every little kid, regardless of what they choose later on, needs to wrestle Pee Wee wrestling. Yeah. I think it teaches them some aggression. It teaches them some self-confidence. Mm-hmm. So I applaud you for your efforts with the little kids. I think it's great. It helps them everywhere. Football teams, you can see our football teams play well. Mm-hmm. So I really do think Pee Wee wrestling is a great thing for the younger kids.
Yeah.
So.
I think we should the one thing that I wish that we're lacking in the wrestling is I wish we had like a good gymnastics program.
That's right.
That's what I would put my kids in. Instead of Pee Wee wrestling for like the first 2 years, I'd put them in gymnastics.
Yeah, tumbling, gymnastics. I watch my little granddaughter. I always ask them, "What'd you learn today?" And they always say, "Oh, nothing." It's like, I make them tell me something. And Annalise, she's in first kindergarten, I guess. And I go, "So what'd you learn today?" She has to tell me something before she gets her hot chocolate. She jumps up and jumps up in the air and jumps down, does the splits.
Ouch.
She said her teacher, Mrs. Ricecon? Ruckty, yeah. I was like, oh my word.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think that's what Debbie Cook used to do. She didn't know. I mean, she didn't know it was helping for wrestling or anything else. She just was part of what she taught and part of her curriculum. But she had a tumbling and gymnastics
tumbling,
section.
your hips,
And
your
it was darn
hips.
sure good,
Well, and
wasn't
there
it?
again, it teaches everything from there on. It teaches balance. And you need balance in whatever sport you want to play.
There's body control.
So maybe do that. Start that up.
In your spare time.
I don't know if I'm qualified for that.
And so spare time, what do? You camping, fishing?
Yeah, we like to camp and travel. We like to go see different places.
Yeah, I saw you just made a couple trips here recently. I saw pictures on Facebook. Tell us where you went, what you did.
We went to San Antonio for Christmas.
Okay, how was that? What was that like?
A lot warmer.
Is that how you pick San Antonio? How do you pick San Antonio?
We picked San Antonio because we were going to go see my brother for Christmas, but then we started getting, as it got closer and closer, the weather kind of started looking poor, worse and worse. And
In San Diego?
In San Diego, yeah. And then right before we went, they implemented a whole bunch of new stuff for COVID. So then we're like, so we changed directions, went to Texas.
There you go.
Yep.
Get to I-70 and make a left turn instead of a right turn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That was cool. Hadn't been there before.
Yeah, never been to San Antonio. It was fun. I liked it. It was nice. Got to see the Alamo, so it was good.
Your impression of that?
It was cool. I like that kind of stuff.
I do
Whenever we
too,
go
yeah.
on trips and stuff, I kind of gravitate towards those type of things. So
I was a little disappointed when I saw it of its location.
yeah,
I think that was kind of the whole thing with the Alamo was its location, wasn't it?
Yeah, but where it's sitting now compared to what you see, it's a little disappointing.
I agree, but it's kind of the same thing as if you go to Boston or Philadelphia. You know, you're in these massive skyscrapers, and then you look down and you see these brick buildings made in the 1600s that are teeny. You know, it's the same thing when you walk through those giant cities now. You're kind of walking and all of a sudden, whoa, that's Independence Hall? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
But same thing with the Alamo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could spend hours in there just walking around and looking at it. And
Yeah, that was cool.
Families by the exit, just kind of like, let's wrap it up.
In the history?
Yeah, it just amazes me, you know, how old it is and kind of the story behind it.
You try to stand there and envision what
Yeah.
happened. Holy cow, that was a
Yeah,
bunch of people come over that wall right
Davy
there.
Crockett standing right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Bowie, all that, yeah.
Yep.
Hmm.
It was a good time.
Very good.
Felt like I got punished when I came back with all this snow. Right as we came back, we just got
Got
hammered.
blasted.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Thanks for bringing it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Needed for
We did
sure.
need it. We did need it.
And snowmobile? Do you snowmobile or that in the winter?
I used to snowmobile a lot until I got married. And started, I guess not until I got married, until I had kids.
Oh,
Then that kind of stopped. Now we maybe go once a year.
ski or anything?
Yeah, I snowboard, and Stephanie skis, and Kale snowboards, and then everybody else skis. So we do that a few times a year. It's fun.
And where do you go?
Either Powderhorn or something like that.
And it does look like in all the pictures that we see and things that you do, you guys certainly spend a lot of time together as a whole family and get the kids involved in several activities. I mean, find out what they like, just let them go and have at it.
Yep, you got it.
Well, what's your next venture in Meeker? You keeping that one close to your vest, or you got enough going right now?
No, I'm not 100%. You know, we started a trash company, and then bought out the trash company that was here last year. And then I don't know. I started this company called LAO Investments, and so I've bought a couple of properties, a couple of buildings, 2 here in Meeker and 1 in Craig. I did that this year, and then I think next year I'm gonna start some composting.
Huh.
We'll see how that goes.
So what do you kind of see, Meeker, where it's headed? You grew up here in the 90s and graduated in 2004, almost 20 years out of high school. Changes you've seen, what do you need to see? Want to see it grow? What does it need to do to grow?
I think Meeker could, I think you could grow a few hundred people, 400 or 500 people, and
Some good families, yes.
yeah, and I think that would probably be just perfect right there.
And how do you do that?
That's a good question. Everybody wants to know that question.
And we were talking earlier before we got on the air about the housing market in Meeker and just the availability of the houses that are not here right now. So
Yep, definitely.
So what's your solution there?
I'm not much of a builder, so I don't have a solution to that.
Construction company, maybe in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And composting, what would that entail?
So, I do a lot of business with a lot of the landfills, pretty much every landfill around here, and
That's how many, and you say around here, is that like the
also like
Glenwood area, Craig?
Yeah. So like Pitkin County landfill, it's up by Aspen, South Canyon, that's Big Glenwood, Rio Blanco here, Moffat County up by Craig, Twin Enviro up in Steamboat, and probably like Twin Enviro, Pitkin, and South Canyon all have like composting facilities in their landfill. And they say that every year, like midway through the summer, they just sell out. They just have no more for like landscapers or whoever.
Wood chips and that type of stuff. And
Yeah, and it's not necessarily, I guess, as much wood chips as like actual compost, like for planting gardens or landscapers when they bring in trees, or like nurseries in Grand Junction for trees that they have that they're going to sell. They keep them in compost or whatever. Yep. So I don't know.
Stay tuned, huh?
Yeah, that's right. We'll see what happens.
fancy word for fertilizer.
Yeah, basically. Yep. So we'll see.
Well, cool. And good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck to in all your ventures and that. Good to see you getting involved, and appreciate all that you do and your family and that, and the support they are, as Hallie says, for the community and that. So yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on the show too.
Yep, thank you for that.
Thank you guys.
Anything else? Gonna wrap this up.
I think that's it.
Again, appreciate you coming on, and I'd like to invite others. Get a hold of us. Go to our website. cowboycoffeewithcoaches.com. There's a little questionnaire there. Lee didn't fill one out, but we would appreciate it if you do, so that we can give you a buzz and try to get you on the show and record a little history and have some laughs and good little conversation. But thanks for joining us tonight, Lee.
Thank you.
And thanks to everybody for listening.
Good. It's a great day to be a cowboy.
Great day to be a cowboy. Thank you, Dale. Okay.